Well, the holidays are such a great time for families together to go and experience arts and culture, and there's a lot of incredible traditions like the Nutcracker at the ballet or A Christmas Carol. And what we really wanted to do at Quintessence was do a secular story that didn't specifically involve Christmas or the other holidays of the season, and really create an opportunity for families to all generations of a family to come to the theater for a story, a powerful story that would be helpful for them to reflect upon as they're venturing into the holiday season. A lot of people complain about how obsessed we are as Americans with gift giving or receiving, and it's really important, I think, to remember during this season some of the larger questions about what makes us better people, what makes us better family members, what makes us better friends. And so we try and pick stories that really everyone in the family can share together. And one of my favorite things is when you walk into the theater, seeing the audience, you have grandparents and parents and grandchildren, and sometimes even great-grandchildren, all having the same experience, and that's a really magical part of our holiday season. Part of deciding what we wanted to do for this holiday season was really knowing that we wanted to create two different pieces of theater. One that was really for young audiences that would also be interesting to the whole family, and then an adult or family piece of theater. So looking at what we could choose from, the Fantasticks has always been on our list of pieces that we were very excited to do at Quintessence. The Fantasticks is a love letter to the classical theater, to classical theater actors, and to the larger epic tales of the classical theater. So that was sort of a no-brainer for us. And then looking at what the right children's story was, or young adult story was, The Little Prince is a magical intergalactic tale that we've always wanted to also do at Quintessence, and it felt like a perfect fit. What's interesting is both of these pieces are written or conceived to be largely driven by the theatrical imagination of the audience. So we're doing this whole show, both plays, on one set that transforms and takes us around the galaxy and also through the countrysides of France. And it's a very powerful experience for the audience to join in and really give us or lend us their imagination. So I'm very fortunate in that I have spent my summers up in Canada, and that's a place where it's bilingual country where French and English are spoken. And so French has always been part of my ear or my thinking. And in Canada in particular, French stories are very much a part of the Canadian culture. So I've always known both of these stories. They're both classics and beloved by generations. For the Fantasticks is an adaptation of Rostand's The Romancers, and most people know Rostand because he wrote Cyrano de Bergerac, but he also wrote a whole series of plays. And this adaptation takes Rostand's story and sort of flips it on its head and expands it and has a wonderful time with it. So it's really exciting to do an American adaptation of a classic French romance, a romantic comedy. With The Little Prince, it's a very faithful rendition of the text of Saint-Exupéry and his incredible sort of vision or fantasy of getting lost in the desert, trying to survive, and coming across this magical little prince from another planet, and meeting a whole host of characters. And that piece, it really is, the musical is a very faithful and very beautiful adaptation of the original French story. We're so lucky to have both of these directors. If you follow theater in Philadelphia, you've probably heard of both Megan and Kyle's work in the last couple of seasons. They're sort of the cutting edge, up-and-coming theater directors in our city. Megan did a production of A View from the Bridge, which was recently Barrymore Award nominated. Kyle has done a lot of really exciting devised theater all across the city and specifically at the University of the Arts. And I really knew that both of these pieces needed a director that was excited at creating theatrical fantasy and theatrical magic in an empty space or a raw space, which is what the pieces call for. And both Megan and Kyle have an ability to draw performances out of actors that are quite powerful and that really engage with the sort of essence of theatrical imagination. You could watch the movies of both of these pieces, they're available, but really in a movie they're giving you all of the scenic and the world and the event, and it's very literal. But when you come to see both of these pieces in Quintessence, it really is the power of live theater and the power of the theatrical imagination and your role as an audience member that gets to help us sketch in all the extra pieces. And that investment that you make with your imagination really makes the whole experience even more powerful for everyone. So these are two really exciting directors. We're so excited to present them or give them even more of a platform in Philadelphia so that people know their work and follow them everywhere. So what really connects our audiences to the Fantasticks today in terms of the passing down of a classic story? Most people are familiar with the general structure of the Fantasticks and therefore Rostand's The Romancers, because it's the same story as Pyramus and Thisbe, which is the event that is performed by the mechanicals at the end of A Midsummer Night's Dream. It's a story of two young lovers who are divided by a wall that's been constructed by their parents in order to kind of control and deceive, but also stoke the love or passion. In Pyramus and Thisbe, as you know, everyone runs off into the forest and dies. And in Rostand's The Romancers, he allows them to live and turns it into a romantic comedy. And then what's interesting is that the evolution of the story continues down to Tom Jones, who had studied the Romancers when he was in college, and he was studying the original or first known English translation of the French play, and the woman who had adapted and translated it titled it The Fantasticks. And so he took the title, he actually stole or lovingly borrowed a lot of the text that she used in her translation into his lyrics and into the story, and it's passed down to us even further. I think it's very interesting, especially today, as we have all these arguments about the role of parenting. How should a parent parent? How can a parent control their child? When is a parent successful and when are they not? These are questions that have been asked for literally thousands of years. And the delight of watching two parents try and control something as irrational as love in young people, and to try and both dictate and intensify it, is where the delight in comedy comes in the Fantasticks. And it's just a wonderful variation on this tale that goes on and on.